Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Jesse from New Zealand, and today we'll be looking at a battle report from Waihi RTT, an event that took place during October in the small mining town of Waihi in the North Island. I was playing Renegade Crowns and my opponent was playing Bretonnia. Game 1 was encirclement with the baggage train scenario. This event was light on secondaries as there were a number of newer players attending. Here's my army, and I'll get into my list. So I've got a Renegade Prince as my general that I hastily patched and painted in the week prior to the event, and a Dwarf as my Renegade Captain BSB with the Griffin standard. Next I've got the Outcast Wizard on the hill there. I decided to keep him nice and cheap, but I'll definitely look at upgrading him for next time. My last character is another Prince. He's leading a unit of veteran Freeblades, and is made from the Old Knights Panther character on an old Chaos horse, as you saw in the last slide. My main unit is 28 veteran sellswords with great weapons and plate armor. I wanted some punch as well as the staying power of the 4-up armor and the static combat res. They are heavy infantry and have the phalanx rule from the general, who also give them stubborn in case they end up in trouble. I took some heavy armor and shield crossbowmen, these guys on the hill, which are quite fun, as well as some heavy armor, shield, and shortbow outriders over here, which are handy for objectives and generally just getting in the way. Unfortunately, we weren't playing very many objectives, so they didn't have a huge amount of use, but they're still quite fun to use regardless. I've got a big unit of veteran Freeblades. They've got full plate armor, so they've got the 12 armor save. They're quite expensive, really. Lance formation, just because they look so cool. Probably not the best choice, but it was fun to use them regardless. 2 bombards and a very expensive Doomseeker. Ignores armor saves, extra initiative just because they had 5 points left over. Endless battle, lets him attack again for each wound he does, just once when he charges. Render the Hateful gives him hatred, Render Grip makes him toughness 5, which helps against like archers and stuff. At least he can get into combat, do something, and then hopefully die. Yeah, so that's my list. So my opponent playing Bretonnia, Matt, he has a pretty unoptimal list, but it was I think it was his first event, and he'd only played a few games prior. But yeah, he's got a nice looking army. That's only some of it. I forgot to get a full army shot. Just unfortunate. He had to leave after the first game. I think he had a family issue or something. But either way, it was a fun game. Here's his list. As I said, it's pretty unoptimal, but he's got a Baron, just Lance Shield, Heroism on a Warhorse. I believe he's off this picture. Then there's a Duke, Lance Shield, Royal Pegasus, Sword of Striking. I don't think he realised that he couldn't use his lance when he submitted his list. Yeah, I'm not sure why the TO didn't point that out for him or what, but yeah, Sword of Striking is not the greatest weapon either. He's got a Paladin, Morningstar Shield, Knight's Hour, Britannia Warhorse. Nice and cheap. Not a BSB because he forgot to put it on his list, I suppose. Probably could have added the BSB considering it's a free upgrade, but that's him there in that unit there. And he's got a Prophetess, level 4 on Unicorn, just hanging out there. Yeah, no magic items on that. Into core, he's got 20 Knights of the Realm. That's them there, nothing special. 2 units of 24 men at arms. 2 units of Knights of the Realm. Only 1 unit has a standard, I believe that's this unit here. And then 22 Peasant Bowmen, these guys, big unit. 3 Pegasus Knights, and then 6 Grail Knights, which are these guys here, with the Champion and Standard Bearer. Alright, so into deployment. I think I must have got some photos for deployment during my turn 1, because there's a few casualties over here, but yep, this is his Grail Knights, Men at Arms. We've seen that already. On this side, he's got more Men at Arms. There's his other Knights of the Realm with the Baron in the unit. He's got his, I think his Duke is actually on the hill, but the hill's a bit hard to stand on, so I think it's just behind them. He's in that unit. You can see I must have already moved up with those guys. This is my after turn 1. I've moved up. There's my baggage train. That's his baggage train there, I believe. He didn't bring one, so he just used a marker that we got. I've got my unit here, protected the flank with this. Got some crossbowmen ready to shoot some knights as they come in, hopefully. Positioned up here. I did have a bombard here. Missile turn 1, roll at 1, of course. There it is there. Lit stuff up, good job. Here's the other side, there's the other bombard and the Doomseeker to protect it. I was kind of guessing that these guys would come around and the Doomseeker could probably mess them up a wee bit. Let the cannon shoot for another turn or so. These guys are just going to run interference. Yeah, so that looks like, yep, I killed my cannons overshot or something. Some crossbows, killed 2 men-at-arms, killed 2 peasant bowmen, and that was my turn. On to his turn. Kingdom of Bretonnia, turn 1, he did some positioning around. He put his wizard in the ground knights and moved these guys up a wee bit, moved them up a wee bit. I think he must have mystical pathways something. I'm not quite sure. He did get travel mystical pathways. But these archers have moved up. Maybe they just marched up. They don't have a lot to do with all these terrain bits in the way, and most of my army's on this corner anyway. Pegasus knights moved up a bit. These knights kind of just stayed put. Peasants moved up. My turn 2. I believe that's showing I got demonic vigor off, which I think I kind of wasted because I only moved up a wee bit. These guys moved around a bit more. I casted summoning on this unit. That was pretty good. 6 dead. That's a decent summoning. Now, of course, they're only peasants, so that's not really a big deal. On to my turn 3 already. So he's obviously just positioned up a wee bit, moved around. I'm in Naring, but like during this game, I was kind of coaching him because he wasn't sure on the rules entirely. He didn't really know what he wanted to do. So I was kind of talking him through options, and I decided, well, you know what, I'll just send it. I'll just charge in, see what happens. Considering, you know, I can overrun into the ground knights, they'll blunt, he'll then charge me, I'll blunt. It's kind of a mess. Obviously, I kill enough of the peasants. These guys are just kind of dancing around. Kenny gets a shot. Doomseeker over this side now. Yeah, end of combat. Yep, the peasants have fleeing through the ground knights. I reform into a line because I didn't want to give a flank. At the end of the day, they've got a lot of AP. I've got a 2-up save. I don't have a ward save. I think I was outmatched anyway, but yeah, not a lot I could have done. Killed a lot of peasants, so that's something, I guess. My turn 4. I must have charged these guys. Yeah, I charged the Knights of the Realm on foot that moved up. I killed one guy. He killed nobody. It's a bit of a pillow fight. He lost because of my Griffin banner. He actually fled, and I rolled 1 less than I needed to catch him, which is a bit of a shame. And then, as you can see, it's a bit hard because his unit's not in the right base size. He doesn't have a movement tray. But basically, we measured before I rolled, and I'm just out of his arc, so he can't flank charge me. Over here, from the overrun of killing my unit, which wasn't shown, that just ended up in a slaughter. These guys overran. I charged him with my crossbowman. We got a 3-up armor save in combat. It's pretty good. I forgot there's a paladin here, so if there wasn't a paladin there, I think it would have done quite well. But yeah, it's enough attacks that it's kind of a little oppressive. So as you can see, on his turn, the Knights around rally. He charges in here. I'm not actually sure what should have happened in this situation, because obviously he can touch my front with the lance, and then it's a disorder charge. I should try and align. in hindsight, I think that I accidentally contact this unit and he can choose to give ground or join the fight, I think. Um, Let me know what should have happened there, because it could have changed things significantly, I suppose. The Pegasus Knights end up moving over here. They don't want to buy from a Doomseeker. He charges the Grail Knights into the flank of a crossbowman, so that's them gone really. Grail Knights, I think he doesn't have it now, but he had the +1 strength and AP spell off, which is why he did so well against my knights. So I only had a 5-up save and no ward save, and then he gets a 3-up, 6-up against all my attacks. So it was just, yeah, um, that happens. He reforms to look at my rear. Things are looking a little bit dire. But I managed to win this combat. Um, I must lose 3 guys. Looks like I lose 3 guys. I kill 1. I have enough combat res that I win combat. He flees. I decide not to charge the. If I pursued, I'd hit the Knight's Arm on foot. I decided not to charge into the end of the game and instead reform and look at the Grail Knights that are sitting right there, which is nice. Over here you can see my Doomseeker with nothing else to do, charge the flank of his peasants. For some reason he marched them right up into the forest, which meant they were disrupted. I killed 6. He didn't do a wound. He, being disrupted, had no rank bonus, so his leadership was pretty poor. He fled. I pursued hardly anything, which is a shame. This is already turn 5, so this Doomseeker unfortunately is not dying this game. So yeah, that same turn, these guys charge the Grail Knights. I kill them down to just the champion. Unfortunately, I didn't get the champion. I think it was in a challenge with my general. So, it was sort of I was kind of hoping to kill him. But because I didn't, he was able to use stubborn, which meant that I couldn't break the unit. Onto his turn, he charges in with his Pegasus Knights into the rear. I finish off the champion. I think the Prophetess ends up in a challenge. Maybe there wasn't a challenge before, I'm not quite sure. But anyway, the Prophetess doesn't die somehow. I don't do a single wound to the Pegasus Knights, but also he does 4 wounds, which means that I am disrupted. I think I won by 1. I won by a hair, basically. It might have been he doesn't have a musician. It was a draw, so I won by 1, potentially. So he gave ground. He rolled 4 back into the order on the Pegasus Knights. And we're out of time. So what happened is, what I would have done is I would have pursued the Pegasus Knights, because I'm pretty sure that would have been a good combat for turn 6. But that was the end of the game there. I forgot to change that dice, looks like. But yeah, at the end of the game, it's a 7-13 loss for the Renegade Crowns. Ended turn 5 due to lack of time. I would have pursued into Pegasus, as I said, for combat in turn 6, which could have brought it to a draw. There's the Duke and General in that unit, so I managed to catch him after surely beating him in combat. Yeah, could have been good, could have been okay. I don't think it would have gone bad. And then obviously these his turn 6 to retaliate. But he didn't have a hell of a lot left that could do a lot of damage. I spent a lot of time teaching my opponent. As I said at the start, he's only played a few games. He wasn't sure how his army worked. I had to teach him how to wheel with the lance formation, so that was interesting. A couple of things I learned. I can't be aggressive against Bretonnia. So the veteran free blades are quite expensive. They don't have a ward save. I'm used to playing Bretonnia. The 2-up armor save is nice, and so is the strength 4, but they're not Grail Knights, despite feeling like the same price as Grail Knights. Yeah, essentially I was waiting for him to do something. He didn't want to do anything because he was unsure about what damage he could do, and it was just a whole lot of looking at each other for half the game. But in the end, it was a fun game. Um, he messaged the TO later and said he was real thankful for our game, so that was cool. I enjoyed playing it, and hopefully I catch him next year. But yeah, that's the end of game one. A small loss for Renegade Crowns. Um, the placings for the tournament, surprisingly, about half the games were a draw round one. So I was at bottom of the pack, but not by a lot. So stay tuned for game two.